Hi, and welcome to Dietless Living 360 Degrees, Overcoming Weight Loss Obstacles with me, your host, Katie Gordon. As a weight loss coach, I help my clients to lose weight their way so they can lose it for life by overcoming their weight loss obstacles. And that old saying that it takes a village to raise a child also applies to our weight loss goals, because some of the obstacles that we have in life are in other areas of our life. We have problems or obstacles in our relationships, business, career, work, families, finances, our home environment, and sometimes we have more complex health issues or other injuries and things that are impacting on our weight and our health. And whilst How to Overcome Weight Loss Obstacles in 6 Simple Steps shows you how to create healthy habits and maintain them through those challenging times, we also need other professionals to help us resolve those actual problems. So with that in mind, Dietless Living 360 Degrees brings in other professionals to help do just that. And today we have Sally Estlin. Sally is a holistic fit specialist based in Melbourne who works on getting people fitter and healthier in their minds, body, and soul. She does this through her work as a personal trainer, massage therapist, bling angel, wellness coach, and a change agent and podcaster. Sally has the podcast Magic Mike, which you can find on YouTube. She's also published a 30-day wellness mindset journal. 10 years ago, Sally founded her business Holistically Fit, following her passion for health and fitness. It started out as a personal training business, but transformed into a business which focuses on shifting and lifting people's energy on all levels to create positive change. Sally uses a myriad of tools and techniques acquired over the years, everything from personal training to hands-on healing through to online coaching and remote energy work. Sally started out working in banking and finance, but over time started following her interest in natural therapies and studied in many areas, including remedial massage and therapies such as aromatherapy, through to homeopathy and naturopathy. Sally's also studied in counselling, coaching, and deeper energy work. She's passionate about helping people find more meaning and happiness and fun in their lives. And who doesn't want that? So welcome to the show, Sally. It's so great having you with us today. Would you like to tell us just a little bit about what it is that you do and the main way that you help your clients?
Hey, Katie, so good to be here with you today. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, so basically, as you said in the little intro, I'm a holistically fit specialist, and I basically help people shift and lift their energy to create positive change in their life. Because really, at the end of the day, we want to have more meaning and fun and happiness in our days. So we want to shift ourselves from feeling sort of crappy to feeling happy. Because life is not meant to be just living an average life. It's about having an awesome life. And it's just simple, small steps that we can do to create this positive change in our lives, shifting our mindset. But I like to work on people's levels, on all levels, mind, body, and soul, and shift their energy in that way. So yeah, I just do it through a variety of tools and techniques, but basically connect with the person, see where they're at, and just hold their hand, guide, support them along the way.
Which is great, right? Because we often do need the hand holding. It depends where we're at in our life. Yeah. And sometimes if we're just at our lowest place, that's where we want a little bit more hand holding. We want to know that the person that we're working with has really got our back and that they're going to make sure that we don't fall through the cracks.
Yeah, absolutely. People really just need support. It's like knowing someone has got their back, because it can be very, fearful to take the step to create some change in your life. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah. So it's like knowing someone's got your back that's there and, can guide you on the way.
Yep. Absolutely crucial. And as you know, this is about overcoming obstacles, and we're sort of wanting to help people overcome all kinds of obstacles. And I find that the nicest way to do that is that we share our stories. So I'm going to ask you if you could talk about a time that you've had a real hardship in your life, like a big obstacle, and how did you overcome it? How did you build your resilience? Like, what were the tools and techniques, or how did you manage your emotional self so that you could get beyond that and actually move into a transition into a better place in your life?
Yeah, well, for me, it was, getting divorced. That was sort of like the biggest life changer for me, and in a positive way, really. At the end of the day, it was 11 or 12 years ago. I didn't see it coming, hit me like a ton of bricks, and it turned my life upside down. I honestly went into the fetal position for a while. I had 4 young kids. It was just, it was challenging. I had 4 kids under four years, so they were sort of really young when it happened, and I had 2 dogs and I was renovating, and it's like, boom, I'd stepped out of the workforce for 12 years. So all of a sudden my life was turned upside down. I really had to stop and pause, because I really had this, this moment of, I can sink or swim here. It's like, I know it's happened to other people, but when you go through it, I don't know, I never thought it would happen to me, for starters. So it was like this massive, like, holy shit, where am I going? What am I doing? And that was the start of my whole transformational journey, my self-discovery, my self-awareness. And it was the making of who I am today. I am now such a more authentic, genuine person, because I'm living true to myself and not trying to be something else. So I had to really start on the journey. I didn't have tools and techniques to really support me back then, because prior to having kids and my marriage, I was in banking and finance, very corporate. And
very different.
Very, very different. I had dabbled in natural therapies because I had a medical condition that could have been quite life-threatening. So I started to, put my big toe into the natural therapies area whilst I was still working in corporate.
Yeah.
But then I, went out and had kids. But just prior to kids, I had started on that journey of studying in naturopathy, homeopathy, and doing massage therapy and whatever. But anyway, that all sort of got put on hold whilst I was looking after the young
Fight
kids.
for survival.
Yeah. And so it really was it was an awakening time for me. Got into Louise Hay. She had the You Can Do It sort of weekends there, Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, and I started reading and started doing angel card readings. And so, long story short, I came across a careers intuitive who my healer had said to me, you should have a chat with this chick, because she'll be able to help you get back on track. Because my way of coping throughout the divorce and even prior to splitting up was my stress relief was exercise. So I would, my husband would come home and I'd have 20 minutes. And so I found that I could go for a walk. But then if I went for a run, I got better bang for my buck, so to speak. Yep. So I could get more out of it. And so then when the youngest was going to school, it was just like, oh my God, I can go to the gym now and have some time for me. So, but I just immersed myself into it. So long story short, this careers intuitive said you need to align your passion with your skill set. And so decided that I should become a personal trainer. So that was the start of my journey of becoming myself to who I am. But it was a challenging time.
And yeah. I love that you share that story, because there's a lot that happened, and it would have taken you an extended period of time to get from the moment where you find out that your life just changed to where you get to the point where you're changing your life and living the new life. But it's those first moments, isn't it? The first weeks and months of adjustment and shock, and like you say, being in the fetal position and hearing that voice in your head that's telling you, sometimes it's saying, let's just sink. and the other one that says, no, we can sink or swim. Where are we?
Yeah, but on top of that, you're dealing with the emotions, because logically, yes, you can do this and do that, but you throw the bundle of emotions in there. You've got the trauma, you've got the I'm not good enough, what the F happened, like why blaming, all that sort of stuff. I'm not good enough, your self-doubt, you're wallowing in all these emotions. And it's just like, on top of that, hang on, we've got to pull ourselves up, dust ourselves off and keep going. Yeah, I can do that every day when I'm not full of all these emotions, and then the tiredness and the stress and
the worry.
And then the lawyers come in and add another layer onto it. And then you got kids that are trying to adapt, and you're trying to look after them.
Understand, they were all under 4, weren't they? Did you say?
No, well, they at this stage they were 5 and 9. So,
all right.
those 4 years. So very close, but still, you've still got to get up. You've got to make their lunches. You can't take the time off. There's no such word as can't do this today, because
I want to stay in bed. No, you've got kids. Get up.
You don't have an option. You just have to keep going, plus add these other layers on. And it's challenging, as anybody that's gone through massive change knows. It's just, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because it's your norm. Every day I'd wake up and go, boom, what's going to hit me today? And that's where you have to start getting into your head and turning down that inner critic, building up the inner coach and saying, I've got ways of approaching today in a positive or a negative way today. And every day it was just like, I'm living in the moment. Let's see what comes at me today. I had my guard up, like, pushing everything away, and on survival mode, very much so for such a long time.
Well, you are, aren't you? Because there's so many things that are threatening your survival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And particularly yourself, your head talk, right? That's not easy.
No, it's the worst enemy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Get out of the way of yourself.
But you've got to go through the whole grieving process, and
Yeah, that's right. 9 stages of grief on top of everything else.
Yeah.
And opinions and this and that, and friendships or ex-friends, and managing all that.
So if you were to have 3, like in hindsight, 3 tips for somebody who is perhaps watching and just found themselves in that situation where they're, it's so fresh, and what would be 3 tips or bits of advice that you could give them to sort of help them leverage themselves right there in that particular point?
Absolutely. First one always is just to stop and breathe. Right. Just absolutely. Because with all the manicness going around, you're just going to attract that in until you stop and pause and just breathe, because you can't even think straight. You just have to be connecting with your breath energetically. It just can calm you down so that you can think in a more peaceful way. Let everything go. It's not important. It doesn't matter if you haven't got the kids with perfectly fixed up clothes or your car's looking neat. That doesn't matter. Let go of the stuff that's not important, because there's so much, as you start to realize, particularly going through. I had a marriage that was, quite financial, to one that's not, right. It's just me. So I've let go of a lot of stuff. But first up, just let stuff go of the stuff that's not worth worrying about. Where does it sit on the catastrophe scale? And the third thing is, let go, just be, breathe, and, just be grateful. Gratitude and positivity, they go hand in hand. And just be really positive about whatever situation. There's always positive to be found out of it. But, at the same time, you've got to ride that wave of emotions and give them some airplay. People can't just tell you to be happy when you're really feeling sad. So, okay, I'm having a sad day, but tomorrow let's pick ourselves up and just breathe through it. The more you can be grounded, centered, and breathe, and positive and in gratitude really helps you, and also helps you let go as well.
Yep. And it's totally right, because the breathing is absolutely the first thing, because as you say, to let go of things, to understand that you have to reprioritize everything that was important to you. And that is sometimes all the little things that we do in our home, like you say, for the kids and whatever, and understanding that we have to reprioritize. But to be able to reprioritize, we have to engage back with ourselves and get out of that fight and flight predicament and the feelings that we're in. And to do that, you have to breathe, to be able to go, okay, so what really is important and what really is my focus? Like what are the top, there's 4,000 things I have to do today, which are the actual ones that have to be done for us to keep moving forward.
Absolutely. And when you were saying prioritize, right, it's just like, when we actually stop and start to have a look, are we doing it for ourselves? Are we doing it for other people? And why are we doing it for other people? Are we trying to meet the Joneses around us? Are we trying to like fit in? And why are we trying to fit in? You know, there's so many layers here when you start to really unravel yourself and your situation and where you're spending your time and energy, because that's the one thing we can control.
Yep. And I imagine it comes down to asking for help as well, because I know for myself in those types of times, whether it's a breakup of a relationship or work or something, we tend to hide it because of everyone has a feeling of humiliation. Oh, it's happened to me. I don't want anyone to know. So we don't put our hand up like we would do if we were drowning in the ocean. So you got to put your hand up to let them know, I need you to come and rescue me. And whilst we may not need rescuing, we do need support from everybody. And so we have to put our hand up. And I think that's something that universally women don't do very well. Maybe men don't do it either, I'm not sure, but is to actually say, shit, things have got really shit for me. I need some help.
Yeah, and asking for help is a strength. You know, being vulnerability is a strength. Being able to be vulnerable enough to say, you know what, I'm actually not coping, or you know what, I actually need some help. That is a massive strength, and it takes some balls to do it, right? You've got to pull up your big girl undies sometimes and just say, you know what, I'm not superwoman yet, because I know with all the people that I work with, particularly women, they're all strong, capable chicks. And yes, they can multitask, but at the end of the day, a lot of them get, you know, burdened, resentful, overwhelmed from it all, just keep going until burnout. And, you know, life's too short. That's what I'm all about, just, you know, peeling back and really making a choice that suits you, and putting the oxygen mask on yourself first, right? Because as being vulnerable.
Exactly. Like burnout is such an unnecessary state for us to ever be in. And yet so many of us end up there, but it's completely unnecessary. And I always remember a quote from Brian Tracy, which he was talking about business, but it's applicable to everything in life and how we live our life, which is the biggest waste of time is spending time on things that don't need to be done.
Yeah.
You know? And there's the reason we get to burnout is because we're doing too many things that don't need to be done. Like you say, doing just because we have a perception of being superwoman, being the super mum, and, you know, work and career and whatever, even if it's just solely focused on career, which was me, just work. I want to be the best, you know, but spending my time on shit that didn't matter.
Exactly. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because in my journal that I've put together, and this was like, I don't know, 3 years ago at the time, and I've put in the front here, the World Health Organization had actually recognized burnout as an actual syndrome in the workplace. Like that was, well, what's that, 3 years ago? So they weren't recognizing it at home, but burnout as an occupational syndrome, you know, it actually exists. And it's absolutely putting too much pressure on ourselves, doing too much.
There's a really good book I read when I was post burnout, or kind of in there, by Frederick. Oh, he had a funny German name. I'll come up with it, but the book's just called Burnout. It's pretty title, and it was quite a revelation to read it, because people were going, burnout, what's that, don't really know. And you know, it's like, well, I don't know what it is, but I'm feeling pretty rooted at the moment, and it's been that way for a long time, and I'm not really in control of my emotional state. So and it was such a great book, just simply for the validation of this is what's happening. And there's all kinds of burnout as well, you know, there's just emotional burnout, but some people have full on physical, mental meltdowns.
Mojo, got no joy left. This is like become depressed. It's like absolutely
body symptoms where they, you know, like chronic fatigue type situations, and some real bad situations for people.
Totally.
And they often come, or you might hit tipping point, as they say, when you have another crisis in your life, such as a marriage breakdown or whatever.
And it's just that one extra straw on the camel's back. Boom.
Yeah,
Like
you're already running at top level.
absolutely, you're almost running on empty, and then it's one more thing, boom, and that's just it. You lose your stuff, and we hit an FTS level, which I won't explain what that is, but something this shit. It's like I can't take it anymore, right?
Yeah, which is what you and I really both advocate, is why health is so important the whole way along, so
Yeah.
you can maintain all these spinning plates, but at a healthier level, so that should another thing come in, because life's like that, there's always going to be something unexpected come, and we have to be able to manage our emotional states through all of that, and to be able to maintain our health and happiness habits.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just one thing we both bang on about is preventing illness down the track, whatever you can do today. It's just simple little things. For example, my dad had a complete knee replacement yesterday, and he's mid-80s. And he said, it's because I've been constantly, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, being as active as I can, eating well, looking after myself, limiting any sort of unhealthy behaviors, just sometimes food. And he said that doctors are blown away at the difference that it's made. And I said, well, and another friend who's similar age, it's just gone, it's really catching up for us, because there's another friend, similar vintage, who's very unwell, and it catches up, right? It catches up.
It's accumulative, right? Yeah. Eventually it goes from, and there's this tipping point where we think we're doing quite well because we're getting away with it. We're living a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I don't have any health problems, so I think I'm doing fine. But then there is a tipping point, and that's where you go, that a lot of people find themselves, and even if it's just through the burnout situation, where you go, oh, this is not good. This is not good. And it's a long road back.
Absolutely. And this was the part of my journey through natural therapies and into awakening myself, was that back in the 20s, I had this medical condition, and I was almost full-blown cancer. And then, I had to stop and have a look at myself and just like my lifestyle. And I was in banking, and it was all really boozy, and it was fun, and we worked hard, we played hard. It's like boom, boom, boom. And it was great, but it was unhealthy. And you can, I remember chatting to you about, it catches up with you at some stage, and in the mid-20s, it starts to catch up with you. So you can imagine by your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, OMG, when you're
lucky to get up to there.
Exactly right. So yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that, because that's a real personal journey, and I know that you're quite okay with sharing that, because you've talked about it before. But it is really good that you talk about it with such candidness, because that's the shit that's happening in people's lives every single day.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and we need to know how to overcome the emotional states, because it is our emotional state that we have to manage over and above everything else. Because if we don't manage our emotional states, we can't possibly manage all the other external tasks and things that we have to do.
Yeah, and it's managing it, as you say, because they're always going to be there. We're going to be got that head talk. We're going to be feeling stuff, because we're social beings. We feel everything, right? And it's about managing that and not beating yourself up, because yes, we have good days, bad days, and it's riding that magic carpet of emotions. It's and hormonal chicks, oh my God, add that to the mix. Menopause was a friend of mine, and COVID was no friend, but we got through it.
Emotions, they really are like ocean waves, right? Because 100%. And the thing that we don't understand really is, we feel it coming, right? And we go, oh no, let on that. Push it down. But if we actually let it go, and whatever it brings up, because you can feel it, it comes up here, and you're like, no, but if you let it out, and sometimes that's a really horrible facial expression that comes with it, and some weird sounds or whatever. But if you let it out, it starts to subside again. It doesn't last forever. That's the thing. So
absolutely, you're giving some airplay to it. So when we bring things up and out, you're giving some more conscious awareness to it. So it's like writing them down is really powerful. Talking is really powerful. And just making noises is really powerful because you're bringing it up and out. You're bringing it out of the subconscious into your conscious awareness and going, oh, yeah, I am feeling shit. Or I am feeling whatever. But yeah.
Just let that energy up and out, you've just got to let it go.
Because that's what I'm all about, is shifting and lifting your energy.
So thanks for sharing all of that, Sal. And I would like to know, what is the biggest risk that you've ever taken and why? We all take risks in life. Some of them are really good ones, really cool, bungee jumping or jumping out of planes. And sometimes they're risks that we take for other reasons than just fun and excitement. So is there something that comes to mind for you?
And I have done bungee jumping, and that was, putting myself out there. But honestly, it comes back to my marriage, walking away from my marriage, because I was the one that chose to walk away. And that was the biggest risk. And I can't tell you how many people came at me, what the hell are you doing? Just stay in it, suck it up. But you know what? I have to follow the energy. And I've been doing that for a long time. And before my marriage went down the toilet, I had to be true to myself and align with my gut and be driven by that. And so even though a lot of the decisions I've made have not made logical sense, people are going to be, what the hell, Sal? Like, what are you doing? And I said, I can't help it. I just have to follow how I feel. And it has never taken me down the wrong path. And, I first got into that. It was Oprah's last show on TV. That's a long time ago. And I was still married, and I was bringing the washing bucket downstairs, and I went to turn the telly off. And you know how Oprah used to have all these giveaways and stuff on the TV? So this was the last time. It was just her on stage, no giveaways, no special guests, no nothing. And it was the final 5 minutes of her show ever. And she said, if there's one thing that I can impart to my viewers that's really helped me in life, is to listen to that niggle inside, that little voice inside your head, that gut sort of voice that's talking to you, telling you doing something. Like if you're driving down the road and it says turn left, doesn't make sense, and you just do it. And if you keep going, you're going to come across an accident. And I thought, I get that voice all the time. I've been telling it to shut up because it's been driving me insane.
What are you doing? Stop talking.
Exactly. And for such a long time, I've been tapping that one under the carpet because it didn't make sense. And so ever since then, that's what I've done. But that was the biggest risk for me, was to walk away from stability, financial security, keeping the kids together. That was not an easy decision to make. And so for me, it was one of the riskiest ones, was upsetting my home life.
Yeah.
But, in the end, it was for the better. So, yeah, follow the gut, follow your energy. It always leads you in the right way.
So that actually really covers what is my next question, which is what's the hardest thing you've ever voluntarily put yourself through? Would that come under that, or is there something?
Oh, absolutely. Terribly. Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Other than that, I always love to give myself challenges. Some severe hikes I've done, trekking through Nepal, through Asia, like hard stuff. And you get there in the end and go, oh my God, I used to be a kickboxer and go sparring and stuff, and go, you revved up and you get in there and then you go, oh shit. It's like,
what am I doing?
And I know, and you're wounded and whatever, but it's like, I've put lots of challenges on myself, but that was probably the biggest one.
Yeah. Actually, I read a book about a guy. He's just a nutter, really, for hurting himself. He's been a Navy SEAL. He had to go through the whole training for Navy SEAL like 3 or 4 times or something.
Yeah.
And then does all these ultra marathons without any training and all sorts of stuff. And that seemed to be the common theme for him, was, he's in the midst of doing something just dramatically hard and going, why am I doing this exactly? Like that voice. But
absolutely. And look, as I've aged, I've decided not to do it. Even just theme parks for the kids, I'm just not into it. I was never into it before, but I do it just to, prove that I could do it.
Yeah.
There's such word as can't in my vocabulary, but I don't need to prove anything to anyone or myself anymore. Yeah. That's one of the things that have evolved.
I came to the conclusion I don't need to hurt myself.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
I can achieve many things and they don't have to actually hurt me.
Well, as a kickboxer, and it used to be war wounds with pride, walking around with the bruises down your legs and up your arms. It's like, oh yeah, look, I'm tough. But I let that stuff go. Mid-50s, I've grown up.
Actually, the lady I spoke to in the podcast before this one, Lindsay Legg, she was a champion Muay Thai kickboxer as well. And white collar boxing, and just mad.
Exactly. That was the best bruises I've ever had, was Muay Thai from in Thailand. Big time.
Yeah. So that's really great that you've shared all of that with me and us, really. So what does fun and relaxation look like for you, Sal?
Oh, relaxation is being out in nature. So, you can see the picture behind. I've recently relocated down to the peninsula, to the beach, being out in nature, getting my feet in the sand, just connecting, being at peace, walking. It's just being out in nature for me is it. Doesn't matter where I am.
Outside time. We love it.
Grounding. Yeah.
And is that what you do for fun as well?
Fun is just laughing, like anything that makes me laugh, hanging with people, letting stuff go is like, just brings me fun, being in the moment, hanging with friends. It's the memories, it's the moment.
Yeah.
To me, that's really fun. Yeah. Big belly laughs are hilarious, where you just literally wet your pants, so many kids can't hang on anymore.
It's not just incontinence then as a woman.
It's just when you are so immersed and you just can't stop. It's the best. It's 100%.
Everything's hurting your face.
Everything hurts. Yeah, you get an ab ache, right? I get an ab ache from laughing too much. Yeah, I love it.
And it's so true, right? It's been quite a while since I've had such a good laugh, to be honest. But it's so refreshing. Like, there is nothing that makes you feel as good as a solid laugh.
Yeah.
Where you shoot milk out your nose, your eyes running, snorting, you just have got no control. There's just everything's out. All your bodily fluids are running.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally.
Yeah.
It's the best.
So when you think about your earlier career choices, because you did say that you were in banking and was it for banking and financing?
Yeah, marketing, broking, that sort of stuff.
So as you kind of think about your earlier career choices and then what you evolved to, what led you out of banking? You did talk about there was the health, and you were starting to look at, you had a health scare, and that changed your maybe perception and sort of led you off somewhere else. But was there something else that led you from banking and finance through to where you are now?
Yeah, it's about feeling it, right? I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
Banking, don't get me wrong, it paid really well, but throughout the whole time I thought, do you know what? I'm not aspiring to run a bank. At the time, it was big blokes with buttons that didn't do up. They had sweaty underarms. They were sexist, misogynist, and all that sort of stuff. And I thought, you know what? I don't aspire to be that. And
that I want to live my life in this field.
No, it was back in the 80s and early 90s, and I thought, you know what, that's not how I'm choosing to live my life. I was copying it, and you played the game back then. You just knew how to, survive, I suppose. And I thought, this isn't for me.
With all the sexist comments and stuff like that.
Oh my God. I'll never forget one time because Dad was in broking and we were out at a pub somewhere, and, guys were all around me and whatever. And I saw Dad in the corner just sitting there bawling, because he knew what blokes were like, back then anyway. They could get away with a lot more. And, I chose to be there because the money was good and I was tough enough to deal with it, but I thought that's not aligning with who I am. And so I just, as I said, I just follow my gut, and so I just follow the energy with what feels right for me. And so that's led me into doing all this healing, coaching, wellness stuff now, because that aligns with the true me. Yeah. And it's not about the money. That's the whole thing. You don't even worry about the money and the financial stuff. Like, yes, you do, but it's not what drives you. It's what money can provide, and it's the lifestyle and all that sort of stuff. It's not about accumulating the wealth in the bank. It's about accumulating enough to have a lifestyle that keeps you, happy.
Well, and it's accumulating, because I remember in my last, proper job back in 10 or 11 years ago, whenever it was, and for the longest time wanting to depart from that, because I'd sit there all day and I'd be doing things on spreadsheets and, getting all involved in problems that would come home with me. And it was like, why am I dedicating my life to this, to somebody else's business? And then, I remember so many times putting information into the spreadsheet for, tracking quality of products and all that sort of stuff. And it was like, seriously, what is the benefit of this to me or to anyone, really? It's such a, like you say, you have to follow your own dreams and passions and just find something that you're happy to do all day, every day.
Absolutely. It's interesting that you said your last proper job. So, because there are no rules or regulations about anything anymore. And I think COVID taught us a lot. I've been down in Melbourne, and that I did a lot of soul searching, and so have a lot of other people, particularly down here. But what is a proper job anymore? It's just something that you align with, in my headspace. Something that, where for me, I think it's important to be able to help other people and help other people overcome themselves as well, with whatever tools and techniques we can do to help them. Because as you said, it's all about overcoming obstacles, and the obstacle is ourself at the end of the day.
Always right here.
Yeah.
Right here, it's just one place.
Batters us every day, and it's you coming up with a bat, right?
Yeah.
You're batting yourself.
Well, you're just working with yourself, right? That's the whole thing, is to be able to maneuver yourself through your own self, through the quagmire of what has been imprinted in there, to, okay, well, that's there, and I'm not sure all the bits there, but that's where I want to go, and be buggered, I'm going to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why my mantra this year is all about letting go, step up, and be more of yourself on a deeper, more authentic level. Because then you're more in flow, you're more in alignment, you're on your golden thread, right? It's the path that you're supposed to be on, living your purpose.
Well, it's true, right? Because you don't, when you're not on it, that's that inner tension, because there's this part of you that's got to front up to whatever position it is that you or work that you're doing, or at a company. And if it's not in alignment, there is
it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and there's a tension and a grinding of the tectonic plates, as it's all trying to settle in there. And you don't need that. That's the stress.
Yeah. Totally, because when you're in alignment, it flows and it's easier. When you're out of alignment, it's a struggle. It doesn't feel right. You're at edge with yourself, and just when it's right. You just know. You just it's like that slumping into the seat. Go, like, I feel home. It feels right.
Yeah. There's a spring in your step when you walk in. I always say it's like, if all the cells in my body were solar panels, and when I'm happy, they're all turned up, right? And I'm just collecting sunshine and sparkling it back, kind of thing. But if I'm not in my happy space, if I'm, like back then, turning up to work I didn't like, or any time in life, I can tell when it's all crap, because I know all my solar panels are turned down and I'm not catching any of the good stuff.
I love that analogy. That's awesome. Very, very powerful.
Thank you. So Sal, if somebody would, if people want to work with you, how can they find you if they want to know more about your business and how you can help them?
Oh, yeah, fantastic. So I do have my website, which is holisticallyfit.com.au. I've got my YouTube podcast as well, which is Sally Estlin under Holistically Fit. I think LinkedIn as well under my name, Facebook, Instagram, which is Holistically Fit Life. So yeah, I'm open for having a conversation or whatever, just because I'm just so passionate about helping people just through simple, small steps, right? If we have a conversation for 10 minutes, there's one bit of wisdom you can take away and that you can apply. It might be an affirmation. It just might be something really simple. But, it's all about just starting with one action step, because you're getting the intention there. You're getting the momentum behind the energy, so it starts to flow and change can start. It doesn't have to be so overwhelming. And it's, if someone's out there that has got your back, it makes it a huge step forward.
Yep. And it'll be just like that moment you saw Oprah. It's a moment that changes
light bulb.
life. One conversation, one word, one comment, and oh, okay, that's it.
Absolutely. It's like when I met you, it's just like, oh my God. I think you said about 5 words, and I just thought, I'm aligning with this chick big time. Like you just, it's just the energy, right? You follow the energy, and your energy is awesome. And I can't thank you enough for having me on your show today, Kate.
Well, thank you. It's been such a pleasure to have you on, Sal, and I look forward to having you on again another day and sharing more of your stories and more of your philosophies on life, because that's what's really helping people, and that's why we do what we do, isn't it? The podcasting and the sharing is just help more people through people they need to connect with.
100%, because everyone's got stuff going on in their lives. Everyone's got a story. Everyone's been on a journey so far, and it's, we're still on that journey. But, if we can impart what we've learned and grown, and the wisdom that we've acquired over that time, and can help anybody, it's all about collaborating and building this community of like-minded people, supporting each other.
Yeah. Build that village.
Absolutely. 100%.
Well, thanks again for joining us today, Sally. And thank you, everyone who's viewing us today. It's always really hard to say goodbye. So please make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you can stay updated with all our guests that come on. Please leave us a comment below if you found something valuable in the conversation today, in something that has been shared that's helping you to overcome an obstacle that you're currently facing. And in the meantime, just enjoy your health and happiness and love what you create. And we'll say goodbye for now. So bye, everybody.
Thanks, Katie. Bye.
Bye.